Hey everybody, Mr. Bookyboo here with another LEGO tutorial. Today we're going to talk about retaining walls. Now I've gotten a lot of requests online from you guys asking how do I build these walls that you see all throughout Bricksburg that the upper level of the city sits on top of. And as luck would have it, I'm actually redesigning this area over here. And so I thought I would just do a quick little video to kind of show you how I go about making these retaining walls. Now, one thing to keep in mind, so I try to keep everything modular, as you know, including the retaining walls, the track sections, everything. Everything's modular, so it all fits on either a 32 by 32 base plate or a 16 by 32 or whatever the sizing is, but it's all standardized for the most part. There are a few exceptions here and there, but for the most part, it's all standardized. So this right here is a 32 long base plate, and you can see that 4 of these large arches fit exactly on there. Now, over here, where I'm working on the tunnel, it's the same concept, but it's a little bit different. Since the tunnel opening actually spans 2 base plates, you can see it's the crack is like literally like right here. It's still, these 2 base plates end up being modular, but you can't really separate them once they're built together. But you will see that I still maintain the principles of the modularization here. So if you look, the edge of the plate is right here, and you can see again, so I have 3 arches on this side, and then the opening for the tunnel, and then where the plate ends over here, there's 2 arches. So I'm maintaining that modularity throughout. I always try to do that. Like I said, it's not always possible but it leads to much less pain down the road if you have to move something or rearrange things. It's a lot easier to take out 2 32 by 32 plates that are self-contained and move those to a different part of your layout than like having to rip out because this ran over onto that piece and then this is connected over there and so on and so forth. It's just a mess to try to take everything apart. And as you can see, I do take things apart quite often to redesign. I get a better idea. I'm like, oh, I'll try this, let's do that. So you can kind of see how that's doing. Now, for the actual retaining walls, they're really simple design, and you can see the core foundation of it here. So what I typically do is I'll start out with the arches because those are kind of the like linchpin to the whole thing, is getting those centered and positioned correctly. And then from there, I'll work on, in relation to the track and stuff, and from there I'll work on how the actual wall, I'll start building it behind that. So you'll see the arches, this is just a temporary holding spot so I know where the retaining walls are going to be. Same thing over here, temporary, and then they're kind of just in front of a few studs just so I have a visual guide of what I'm doing. And then you can see behind that where I've actually started building the retaining wall. So what I like to do, and actually you can't see it because the arches are blocking it, so let's see if I can tilt just a little bit. So at the very bottom is a plate. It's a 2 by whatever plate, and they're green, and that's just, to me, just helps create the it just gives it a little bit of transition. So it's not just the light bluish gray directly on the base plate. I like it. It's just a little differentiation. It makes it, I don't know, if you look at it over here, you can kind of see how the green is up a little bit. It's just, you know, you can do whatever you want. Some people, you can use dark bluish gray, you can use whatever you want. You don't have to do anything like that. I just chose to because, again, I kind of like that little visual. It just gives it a little pop. Starting from that, what I do next is, and you can see here, is I'll start, these are just bricks. Plain old, boring, original Lego bricks. What I try to do is I get them lined up on the center line of the arches. So you'll notice that the cheese slopes here are lined up. So everything, I try to follow the pattern of everything is, I don't do any like illegal brick connections. Everything's overlapping basically in everything that I do. So if you look at this completed wall here, you won't see any illegal connections. Everything overlaps, so there's none of like this where it's like double stacked on top of each other. If I show you, like, you know, where you get like, you know, like where it's like just double stacked without any you know, strength underneath it. This makes everything really strong, and it just looks better to my like anal retentiveness makes it look, it just, otherwise it would bug me if there were a bunch of like illegal connections and I see designs like that, I'm like, oh no. But anyway, so everything's stacked. So the bottom 2 rows are bricks. So they're mostly 2x4s. There's on the very ends there's some 2x2s, and it all fits symmetrically and easily in there, and it lines right up. The third row is where you start to get into the actual building pieces. There's the cheese wedges that I just do for decorative. It just gives it, it makes it look a little finished as opposed to having exposed studs. But even those are lined up with the bricks underneath. You can see how it lines up there. Now, as far as the pieces that you're going to need to do this, so in addition to the basic Lego bricks, I got some samples over here of what you're going to need. You're going to need a pile, and I do mean a pile, depending on how much retaining wall you want to build, of 1x2s, 2x2s, 1x2 angle bricks. These are immensely useful. These give you a lot of strength. And then you're also going to need, if you just want to have like a boring wall, you can do that. Or if you want to add, like, see how I've added a little bit of texture in that third panel there, and then also the little leafy bits, like vines growing up the wall. So you're going to need some of these other little assorted pieces here. So these are like, the textured brick pieces, which I really love. This is an awesome piece. And then some modified bricks with the stud facing out here on the side, so that you can attach the leafy bits to it. And then you'll also need some like 1x1s to fill in the gaps in the walls there where you're building. So if you look, you can kind of see how it stacks up here. And this is actually probably a better angle so you can really see it. So I started with 2x2 bricks, and then it goes to the angle bricks, and then 2x2 bricks. And then all I do is I just start filling in, the middle pieces here with the, I'm just going to use 1x2s for this just to show you how it goes. So 1x2s. And now we've caught up to this part here. So what you're going to need next is, since this one was a whole 2x2, you're going to use an angle bracket, or not a bracket, angle brick, sorry. Angle brick, same idea. And then if you want to do some texture, so you can do like that. And it's just, you just start getting random with it, however you want to place it. So it's like texture, brick, and then maybe you'll fill in these bricks here like this. And then you're going to need more angle bricks to fill in the top part here. And then maybe another texture brick here. If you want to get a little more variety, you can get kind of fancy. You can go with 2 texture bricks there to make it look, more varied and stuff, whatnot. You can go like that. And then you're going to add a few more of these here. And then same thing over here with this wall here that we started. You're going to do this, and you're going to add that. And now we're up to the next level. So on the end cap, you're going to put a 1x2. And then in the middle, you're going to put a 2x2. And see how it all stacks up nicely? And then we're going to put more like that. And as you can see, we're rapidly running out of bricks. I didn't pull a whole lot out of the parts bin, but we're almost out of 1x2s already. Like I said, these retaining walls eat up a lot of bricks, so be prepared for that. Whatever, I mean, a 32 long wall section is, I don't know, a couple hundred bricks. So, I mean, they go fast. So you just keep going like that. And then eventually what will happen is you'll get to the top. And if you follow this kind of template, you'll actually get to this top part where these arches actually will fit directly on top of a 2x2. And you can see that if you look right in here. That's a 2x2. So again, you're maintaining the structural integrity of the wall design. And then from there, you just keep going. You get the wall part built. And then you go, I'd like to do another 2 rows of plain old Lego bricks, 2x4s with some 2x2s on the end. And then at the top, I just kind of got fancy because I didn't want it to just end. I wanted to have a little bit of like texture and little, make it look like pop a little bit. So what I did is I put a dark bluish gray strip, which is just a plate right along there. You can see it. And then from there, there's another light bluish gray plate on top of that. And then there's those texture, I don't know what those are called, but you can see those are just those texture bricks. They're 1x2 with the little slots running through them. And you can turn them this way, you can turn them the other way. You could do gratings if you wanted to. You could do those little grills with things. You can do, there's all kinds of things you can do just to have a little bit of like a decorative touch to it. And then there's more plates on top of that. And then finally the railings on top. And the railings are just black 1x6 with those little telescope pieces. I got like a gajillion of those telescope pieces because my walls go all the way down to the end there. And then just a 1x6 black tile on top. And then the in between it's just 2x2 2x2 bricks, and then on top is another cheese slope. So that is quick and dirty wall building 101 for Mr. Bookie Boo's city. The tunnel actually as well, the tunnel piece. So in order for the trains to fit through, just real quick, because my trains all have the pantograph on the top for the electricity, even though I don't have any wires running through the city yet. So what happens with the tunnel piece is it's actually going to sit on top of the arch. So right there, it's actually going to sit right on top. So it's not, so if you can envision this, it's going to sit, you know, well, you can't really see it, but it's going to sit on top of the arch in there like that. And then that gives you enough height for the train to get through. You always want to check your clearances when you're building tunnels, height and width. And especially if you're building on a curve, make sure you give yourself enough space, because some of these engines, this is actually my longest one right here. And so this is my tester. I use this one for all my testing, because they do have quite a bit of, see how it really hangs out over the sides? So you really want to make sure that it fits through the tunnel, and this one will fit. Don't mind the arches because the arches won't be there, but you can see plenty of clearance through there. So you want to take that into account. You always want to watch that and see as you're designing. Figure out what your longest train is, and then go from there and use that as a guide as you're building to make sure you have enough clearance. I learned that the hard way, because otherwise the sides will sideswipe. And actually, if you notice, that's why further back in my layout, if you look at the other, like the retaining walls further down, let's see if I can go down there real quick. So like these walls over here, they're actually not, they're actually off, they actually broke design. It's a standardized design, but it's not a like technical Lego design, because there's actually a gap. See that gap right there? So there's a 1 stud gap between the retaining wall and the track. Now, so these actually, all these pieces of retaining wall here actually hang off the base plate on the end, because they're 2 studs deep. So it's kind of like an illegal technique because it's not on the 32 by 32 base plate. But the reason for that is because when you get to like these type of turns over here where the switch is really close to the retaining wall, you run into side swiping issues, as you can see right here. Without that space, this locomotive would be swiping right here. Emerald Knight really has trouble. That one is probably one of your most finicky. So if you have Emerald Knight, you really got to watch your clearances. And then also the white express passenger train, because the nose is sticks out so front from the wheels. You have the same problems with that. The newer ones, actually this is an older one, but the newer designs like this don't have them as much of a problem because the wheels are closer to the nose. And so the clearances are a little bit better. So if you don't have those older style trains, or if you don't build really long ones, you may not run into as many issues like that. But that is it for this video. I hope you found that useful. Let me know what you guys do for building and stuff. If you have your own techniques, how you design. Do you design with modularity in mind when you build stuff, or do you just kind of put it all together? We'll be back soon with another video. We're actually right now, we're working on the marina down at the end here. I can give you a quick little teaser of that before I wrap this up. So the marina is actually coming along nicely. I'm just laying it out right now, but you can see I've got the workings of the pier in the background, some of the boat parking, and then we're also going to have a beachfront, and we have the elevated track behind as well. So I'll do another video soon showcasing that, maybe showing you how I elevated that back there. And thanks for watching. We'll be back soon.